Like Coach said, my name is Matt Janus. I am the defense coordinator at UW La Crosse, and if you guys haven't been in tune to what's going on in the WIAC, it's been a pretty special, really 2 years with our program and with our university. Our head coach, you guys probably see him around a little bit today, Coach Smith, got hired 2 years ago. And his whole vision for our program was to go back to being the pinnacle of Division III football. If you guys are familiar with the history of UW La Crosse, we have 3 national championships, over 30 conference championships. So in year 1, Coach Schmidt went 5-5, and that was the most wins our program had in probably the last 5 years. Sticking with that vision of being the pinnacle of Division III football, in year 2 now, we went 8-2, as Coach said. And that's a huge jump, really huge jump for us as a program. I know you guys have been around through the coaching world. You guys know how big of a jump that is, and now, as a program, we're looking to make the next big jump. Right, going from 8-2, or 5-5, 3-7 to 8-2 is a huge jump, and now we're making the next biggest, the biggest mountain, and that's going 10-0, 15-0, trying to get to a conference, national championship. So, before I get into really our option football and defending the option, I need to tell you guys what we do and what we do on defense, because that leads everything, that all leads up into what we do against the option. So like I said, our tagline is our way. That's a program-wide philosophy, and what you guys are seeing on this sheet, as Coach Lichty will know a little bit, I give our guys almost every day we have an install, I'm giving them a packet of information. You know, some of you guys that are teachers, they're getting that. I think huddle's great. I think it's awesome that our kids can look at it on film, or watch their film whenever, wherever, but I'm still kind of a pen and paper guy. So our kids will get this for every meeting, every install session, so that not only do they have it in a binder, but that they can also pull it out, take notes during our meetings. So our tagline as a program is our way. Our philosophy, as Coach Schmidt will tell, and really our whole staff will tell anybody, it's really simple at UW La Crosse. 1, we're going to recruit really good players. 2, we're going to surround you with great people. And then 3, we're going to hold them to ridiculously high standard. So that's all kind of part of our model, our way. And then as we look to our defense, I don't really have goals or anything. I don't believe that, I know there's statistics backed with it, but I think it's hard to measure, like, hey, I got 10 defensive goals every week, and what if you get all 10 goals and then you still lose the game? So our foundation is what I want on every Saturday night when I turn on our game film. Our foundation is what I want visible on film. Take everything else away. Take the score, take everything else. These are the 3 things: toughness, discipline, passion, that I want visible on film every single game. And then we turn to really our focus. Like I said, I don't have goals, but these are the things. Our focus is what we're thinking about each and every week. And this sets up, our focus really sets up, both offensively and defensively, our practice structures throughout the week. So to us, scoring defense, 1, and what is scoring defense? To us, and what I hammer home with our players, is what is demanded to win the game. It's not hold them under 10 points. It's not keep them to 17. It's not that. It's what is demanded to win each game. For you defensive guys, there's going to be games where you're playing lights out. And you held an opponent to 3, 7, maybe you shut them out. But there's also going to be games where you need to stop. They've scored every single drive, but you need to stop on that last play, on that last drive. You're up 42-35, you need to stop on that last play. So our focus all turns to what is demanded to win. 2, our rushing defense, obviously we'll get into that with the option as we go. I don't care what level you're playing at, you still need to stop the run. And you can stop, I don't care, spread team, whatever. If you can stop the run and make a team one-dimensional, then it's really fun as a play call. Focus 3, as you see, our red zone defense, that's the simplest way to put it, is taking touchdowns and turning them into field goals, turning field goals into punts, and then turning punts into field position. That's the way I look at our red zone defense and how we want to approach it. Point 4, takeaways, that's pretty self-explanatory. 5, explosive defensive plays. TFL, sacks, obviously are the big ones you think of, but hey, we're also talking like a batted ball. They want to throw a fade, they want to take the one-on-one matchup, they throw a fade and our corner knocks it down. That's an explosive play to get our guys going. And then number 6 is penalties. And I don't just mean in terms of, hey, don't punch somebody in the face with a helmet. That's, no dumb penalties. Yes, we preach that too. But we also spend a huge amount of time with our defensive backs talking about what pass interference is. where your hands can go, where they should go, when it's called. We spend time, that's our defensive back meeting, and Coach Lichty's in them too, and he'll tell you, we talk about that every time we pull up our 7-on-7 tape. Every time we go into a game, we'll tell them, hey, that's PI, hey, this is where your hands got to go. And we teach that in every single defensive back meeting. So like I said, our guys are going to get this. This is kind of the cover page as we go throughout the week, as we go into our install meetings. Continue. Like I said, I'm going to talk for a little bit on just what we do as a defense. So what we do, I think the easiest ways is I got to recruit student athletes. You guys are working with student athletes at some of the high school levels as well. And you think about looking at the colleges, well, hey, we're going to have a major, we're going to have a minor, and then I kind of threw an emphasis in. So at UW La Crosse, really our major is quarters. That's, sorry there, get to that in a second. Our major is quarters. So everything that we do is out of our quarters system. We're going to be in this 50, 60, 70% of the time. That's what we run. It's going to be press man on the outside, and we go from there. Our rules are based out of our first install, are all based out of, everything else we put in is based out of our quarters defense. Our minor, so we're going to sprinkle a little bit in some Tampa 2, okay? And really, I'll install Tampa 2 with you in 2 seconds, all right? We're going to split our safeties between the hashes and the numbers. All right? Our Mike is going to carry number 2 vertical, and then we're going to spot drop with the other 2 linebackers to play hard in the flat. That's really our Tampa. Obviously, there's more to it, but that's really our Tampa defense right there. And then our emphasis after that, as a defense, our emphasis is we're going to be very aggressive. So we're going to combine our major quarters with our blitz package. We're going to play 3 deep, 3 under, bring in 5 in a fire zone, or we're going to play 3 deep, 2 under, and bring in 6 in a fire zone. All right, so everything we do on defense is aggressive. It's an aggressive style of play. And that starts really with our quarters. We're not going to play off. There's some times and situations we'll get to off with our corners, but I'm not going to give up an easy 5, 6, 7 yards because our corner's playing at 7 yards. I'm playing off man at 7. All right? Everything with our quarters covered is designed to throw it, 1, over our defensive backs' heads, or 2, into tight windows. I want to make the quarterback try to beat us. Okay? So, we're going to get into, and I'm going to spend about 5 minutes on our quarters because this is going to carry over into how we defend the option. Alright? So, like I said, this is kind of some of the sheets that our players would get throughout the week. It's going to have a formation sheet. It'll go from here. So I'm just drawing it up out of a 2x2. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But like I said, on the outside, it's going to be press man. You're man-to-man, unless we get an immediate under, in which case our corners will zone off looking at the quarterback. Okay, our safeties and our linebackers really are responsible for number 2. Okay, after 5 yards. So they're going to take it basically right after our linebacker, after they clear linebacker level. Number 2 is now yours. Okay, we're going to play aggressive as well with our safeties, like I told you earlier. Throw it over our heads and throw it in a tight window. Our safeties are not going to give ground. They're not going to pedal to 20 or anything like that. They are designed to take it right off of the linebackers at about 7 to 8 yards. Okay, and then our linebackers right here, our 2 outside linebackers in a 2x2 set. All right, he is responsible for number 2, in or out before 5 yards. So our linebackers, all 3 of them, will stay on a flat fence. They do not give ground. They do not drop. They line up at 5, and then if they get a pass read, they are pushing to number 2. Okay, and then our Mike will be responsible for the last one, depending on what the formation is. Number 3 in and out after 5 yards. Okay. Our safeties, again, they're going to be on number 2 the whole time, both of them. So even if we were to get like a 5-yard out route, he's going to have his eyes and he'll start working to the out route already. So even if let's say our Sam linebacker, he gets a 5-yard out, drives, and misses the tackle, our safety's still going to be right over the top of number 2 anyway. Our safeties rules will also be, and it's kind of a rule breaker, if we get a bubble by number 2, our safety goes. It is his now. So he has 2 vertical after 5 yards, and any bubble by number 2. Okay, and the reason for that, I think all of us at some point or another are starting to see all this RPO stuff, and we've been seeing it for probably the last 5 years or so. If they want to run an inside zone type look right here, and run the bubble and RPO and read our Sam, well, our Sam has a lot of fit in the box. So we can't just say, hey, you got the bubble too. So that's why our safety will trigger with any 2 bubble. Okay. Another reason why I love quarters. Okay, I think when I was at the high school level, I was just obsessed with cover 3. I thought it was awesome. I loved it. It was simple. But I got away from it. I really don't do anything with cover 3 anymore because in our quarter system, we're always going to have an extra player. Okay, whether it's going to be one of these outside linebackers or a safety, meaning an extra player coming down against the run. All right, I got sick of, in the cover 3 system, of trying to determine, hey, which way I should spin, which way I should go. Is it formationally based? Is it based off of, do I just call a field or boundary spin or strong or weak spin? So this way in our quarter system, we're going to get an extra player in the box every time it's run. Okay? So just to give you guys an idea, again, we're playing something different up to the top of your screen, but you'll get a feel. This is a 2x2 set right here. We're going to just get the flat fade concept right here. Again, we're going to play press man. We're going to bail out. It's our bail technique a little bit. All right, so he's all of him. There's our 2 out. There we go. Again, you see our safety, number 39 right here. He's eyed up on our tight end anyway. So even at 56, he's diving for the ball, misses it. We're still going to get him into the picture. Yeah, he's out at 5 yards, all of our linebackers. Kind of moving on through our quarters coverage as you see it, and you guys will get kind of a feel. We are, I guess I missed explaining that, we are a 4-3 defense, but if you look at it, what does it look like? 3-4 personnel, right? So we took an athlete, and instead of having like a hand-down defensive end, we're going to take our best, we have a couple linebackers that were too big to play inside linebacker. They're 6'4", they're 230. So now we're going to take them and we're going to put them on the line of scrimmage and let them be a defensive end, which is kind of nice because we're going to keep it as simple as we can on the back end, but now we can get very exotic in the front seven, meaning we can get into 4-3 fronts, we can get into 3-4 fronts, we can do a lot of different things up front. Kind of continuing, we talked about getting an extra player. Watch 39 right here. Nobody even touches him, but we're getting an extra player based off of his reads. Alright, so he's going to be responsible for this. We're going to try to crack. He'll replace our linebackers. You see our Sam, you see our Mike. They're going to fall behind the zone. All of our run fits are based off of formation, so our Sam will make basically every run fit call that we have. So as we go to the tight, they're going to fall behind the zone right here. He's our extra player. He's our extra player. So really, we brought 2 extra players into the picture right there. One more with quarters, just so you guys get a sense of it again. All right? In our quarter system, when we start to get, and everybody's kind of starting to go to this power read type stuff or this jet motion type stuff, we had our rule of 2 bubble, right? Number 2 run to bubble is the safety. Well, what we've done in our system, we created that with jet motion too now. So now as we get this jet motion, watch our boundary safety, he now triggers. He sees it as a 2 bubble. So now he comes down. So that's important too because that's going to carry over to some of the stuff we do against the option as well. Alright, so that's a little bit, like I said, that's just a little sneak peek at our quarters. That's kind of our base rules. That's going to carry through. Like I said, love it. Everything is, we keep it as simple on our back end as we possibly can. I told you our major, I told you our minor, I told you our emphasis. We're not running 100 different coverages. We're not running quarters, man, 3. We're not running a whole bunch of stuff. Alright, because they need technique in the back end. You can't, if you're playing all those coverages, well then you're not really playing with any technique back there, and you're just trying to disguise different coverages as you go. So our defensive backs coach, listen, they spend all day on technique, on press man technique, on bail technique. That's really their day, every day, because it's such a technique that needs to be perfected. And where we're going to get exotic, like I told you guys earlier, we're going to get exotic up here. We'll teach our technique and we'll go through that. We can do some different things because once a defensive lineman knows how to play in 4-eye, okay, now I can go to an Okie front. If he knows how to play in 3 technique, now I can go to an over or an under front as we go. Okay, so really, like I said, that's our quarters right there. So as we get into really defending the option now, okay, like I said, I was a defense coordinator at Sheboygan Falls High School kind of right when I got out of college. And then I went to UW-Platteville, was the defensive line coach there, and then I was the co-defensive coordinator there before coming to UW-La Crosse. So I didn't see the option for 3 years, and then my first 2 games at UW-La Crosse were against the option, against Luther College and Ripon College. So it was kind of like, oh, I got to go back to the option now. I didn't see it for 3 years, and so really I'm going to kind of take you through the system that we install. And to kind of start, really, just kind of give a brief overview of the way my mind thinks as a coordinator as we game plan and things that I was looking for when we got some of our film exchange. Right? First one is read keys. I think that's pretty simple. what are they going to read, but it's based on different fronts. So 1 and 2 kind of go together of what we're looking at. So if we go to a 4-3 front, what are they going to do? Where's our read key? Not just the dive read key, but who becomes the quarterback play? Who becomes what are they reading on the outside? What are some different things they're going to do there? So I think that's pretty simple. Number 3, formations. That's a big one. Got to be able to fit up all the formations. Let me tell you guys, I don't think option football is that hard. And I know there's some guys that probably have run the option, and I feel like option guys, they just know that offense front and back. They can sit on a whiteboard for probably all day if you need them to. But formations, to me, defending the option, all they're trying to do is get their numbers somewhere. They're trying to get an advantage in numbers somewhere. So you got to figure out how you're going to adjust the formations where you still have numbers. Number 4, their adjustments. And what I mean by that is really as a play caller, what we'll do almost every Sunday as a whole defensive set is we come together after all of our films break down and we just watch a game. That's it. We'll watch 2 or 3 games, the last 2 or 3 games, and we just watch them in entirety. So when I talk about their adjustments, what are they going to do as they see maybe a 4-3 look, as they see, so you got to put yourself in the mind of the opposing defense that was just on the tape. All right, so this is what they're doing on their defense. How is that team adjusting? What are they going to do with their defense or their offensive linemen? Are they going to arc them? How are they going to treat some of the things that you're just seeing on the film as you're watching it? So their adjustments. Number 5, crack blocks. They always scare me. Unfortunately, we got burnt this year on a crack once. But this is stuff you need to spend time on. If they're going to crack with their number 1 and arc their wing, then you got to spend time with that in the secondary. For us, that was 5 to 10 minutes every single day throughout really our first 2 weeks as we went. And then lastly, their home run plays. They're not going to run outside beer on 3rd and 6 or 4th and 7 when they need to play. What's their home run play? Some teams it's going to be rocket toss. Are they going to pass? Are they going to sprint out? What is it? Maybe some schools will run outside beer on 3rd and 6. But so what's their home run play as they go? And then really, as I looked into defending the option for us, so you guys know, I don't want to change and have a wholesale change to our defense. Meaning I don't want to install a whole new coverage. I don't want to install this because we're going to see it. Maybe some of you guys will only see it once a year. For us, it's the first 2 weeks, but then realistically, we're not going to see the option again the whole year. So I don't want to lose 2 weeks where it was just focused on option football. I want to still do some of the things we do on the back end, some of the things we do up front, and I want to still develop some of those techniques. So as we go into defending the option, our big part was to keep it simple, keep it to what we do already. But really, when you think about defending the option, number 1, guy for a guy. What does that mean? We're going to have a primary dive player, we're going to have a primary quarterback player, and we are going to have a primary pitch player. Do not be somebody that says, hey, we'll just rally to the pitch. Because that's not going to work for you. Because the pitch is really the most dangerous thing of that whole setup right there is the pitch. So you have to make sure that you have a guy for a guy. It's a guy whose primary responsibility is one of those 3 reads. Like I said, I did it earlier when I was in high school. I thought I could just rally to the pitch and go from there. Doesn't work. Got torched on the pitch quite a bit. And then number 2, we talked about it earlier, is numbers. And I think as you guys start watching some of the things that we do, you'll see our numbers on the perimeter especially, that we're going to outnumber people where they're going, and part of that's because of our triggers. Number 3, this is one to really work in practice with the option stuff, is angles and taking the proper angle. So we'll get I know our scout team's always going to be slower than what we're going to see on Saturdays, but that's a big point of emphasis, especially for our linebackers and for our defensive backs throughout the week, that we can correct that stuff live, we can correct it in practice stuff, taking good angles. For instance, you'll see our secondary, getting to a crossover run. You have to get to a crossover run. You can't just run to the sidelines because they're going to cut back to you, on you. For our linebackers, it was staying flat over the box. And I'll show you guys, it'll kind of resonate as we go through this. And then finally, number 4, we had to find ways to get these teams, option teams especially, behind schedule. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If you're going to get the 2nd and 2 and 3rd and 1 against an option team, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a really long day. And for us, our offense is up-tempo, no huddle, boom, 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 we run the play every 10 seconds. So think about if one of these teams start getting behind schedule on me, or we start getting behind schedule as a defense, and now that offense is on the field, their offense is on the field for 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. that kills our offense. So going into my first 2 games as a coordinator at UW lacrosse, this is probably the thing I was most worried about, was trying to get our offense back. If our offense went 3 and out, I was terrified, because then we had to get them the ball back as soon as possible. And again, that all starts with getting them behind schedule, and that's a whole team period right there. Getting into 1st and 10 plays and going through that and all that. So, I went to a 3-4 front when we went to defending the option. I like the idea of athletes standing up on the outside. I think that's easier to determine reads and all that stuff, and playing the quarterback, playing the dive. So we went to that on the outside for that reason. And then secondly, I wanted the nose in the middle of the field. I wanted him right over the center. I wanted to force that double team, because I felt from watching some of the teams that we saw that was going to be the best front to really get us in. And like I said, our base defense is it's 4-3, but it's with 3-4 personnel. So for us, it wasn't a personnel change. It was just calling a front for us. So I'll give you kind of like a brief overview first. Just like what we talked about, this is going to our guys. You know, they get this sheet, then they're going to get like 5 more sheets with all the different formations. But I'll start with this sheet as a brief overview. And then what we'll do is we'll just go into it position by position. I think that's kind of the easiest way. We can focus on the corners, safeties, linebackers, outside linebackers, all that. So, again, we'll start with the double wing. So we'll kind of show that for the most part. We call it double wing. Some people call it flexbone. But we get into our double wing. So this is how we're going to look. We're going to keep it simple in the back end. We're going to play our quarters. That's what we're doing. And again, some of the things that we'll do carry over to what I told you about earlier. So on the outside, it's still going to be press man. Yeah, that's pretty simple. They're going to be a secondary pitch player. Get off the block. We're going to work exclusively on crack blocks with our corners. But we're still going to focus on our press man technique. We're not just going to get away from it for 2 weeks because, hey, option team doesn't pass. Our safeties. It looks like quarters to them. They're going to line 2x8 out the outside of the wing. It looks like quarters. They're going to play quarters. The only difference is we're going to kind of lose our linebackers. So our quarters coverage kind of becomes almost in a sense like a 0 coverage for a second. But they are on number 2. Matched on 2. There we go. Our linebackers are inside guys. They're keying, like I said, we'll go through it position by position. They're going to line in 20s. They're keying the fullback. You see we're going to actually take our nose off the ball. I know it kind of sounds a little bit weird, but we're going to get him back up about half a yard off the ball. Ideally, I would like him in a 2-point stance. Our noses this year weren't comfortable in a 2-point stance. They didn't want to do that. But why? Because I wanted to see visual. Our nose is going to fall to the back side of the center. So he's going to key the center. And as that combo comes, he's going to fall to that backside A-gap. So he's going to be like our backside A-gap player. He'll never push to the front side. Alright, we'll get into our Okie front, so our 4 eyes with our end and our tackle. They're primary dive players. And then our 2 outside linebackers are Sam, and really our Buck became our quarterback players. Okay, so we'll start from the back end. Like I said, we'll go position by position. So the corners, like I said, they're key. It's not going to change anything else we do. They are on number 1. They're playing press man, quarters coverage, and they are a secondary pitch player. Okay, where it's going to change a little bit. Not a little bit, it's not going to change too much. But really our safeties now are going to key the wings. Okay, they are playing quarters coverage on the wings. That's their key. Okay, they become a secondary pitch player. Now, that wing can do a couple different things. Alright, he's going to arc, he's going to push vertical for a pass, he'll go in motion. So we'll kind of go through each of the steps. So really the first one is the arc released by the wing. So you see again, we're at about 2x8. We're keying him, we're going to get the arc. We're just going to fit up to the outside of that right there. And there we go, there's our tackle right there. So again, he's on him, he's going to arc. We'd like the tempo to be more to a crossover run. Again, when I say crossover run, I can't do it right now. I'll try to do it with my left foot. My body's staying square to the line of scrimmage. All right, and I'm cross over with my shoulder square. That way, if that guy's going to cut back, I can plant and get back. If I just run to the sidelines like this, I can't, and he cuts back, I'm screwed. So our huge emphasis with our safeties, with our linebackers, is getting into that crossover run. You see with our corners, we're press man, they're going to run us off here. We'll get off of it late, we'll play some different techniques. To the outside, he's playing press man. He's into more of our bail technique, which again, he'll just miss time to snap right there. But they'll just fold back late into the picture. Seeing it from the tight, Again, we'll be in 20s, we'll adjust our linebackers as we go. He just fits out to the arc. So the arc block is fairly easy. The big one now is when the safety motions away. Alright, so now we're going to get motion away with our safeties. They are responsible for number 2. That's the only thing we really changed out of our quarter. He's going to go away. We talked about triggering already. Our safety is going to go with, I talked about numbers, right? That's numbers right there at the sideline. Okay, so we're going to sit there. He's going to motion away. He's mine, I'm going. So it's almost essentially zero cover. So we're still playing in our kids' minds, it's quarters. We just changed a little bit of rules with our safeties that if your guy goes in motion, you go. But that's how we're triggering. So everything we do with these guys is based on the trigger. So we're going to get a lot of, because of the way we trigger, we get a lot of counter motions. Alright, so you kind of see that right off the bat. So we have a great tempo right here. I'll kind of go back to it. Great tempo by our field safety right here. He doesn't just turn and run. We're going to get the counter motion by him. He comes back. Now it's just an arc to him. So now he fits outside. There's his guy. They have nobody to account to our backside safety. Alright, it's pretty awesome. I love the way we triggered on it. It was very successful for us. This was Ryan Weber. I know if you guys don't know who Ryan is, Ryan's from down the road in Holman. Was a fantastic 4-year starter for us. Got banged up, really banged up this year, unfortunately. Was an All-American safety. I didn't know how good Ryan was until, because I was playing against him at Platteville. I didn't know how good he was until watching him do this in this game, where he made about 6 tackles just like that, just running sidelines to sidelines. So again, the match down here. He goes. I'm going to go. Good tempo right there. Into our cross. Now I can flip to the outside, and there's his tackle as we go. Okay, we'll see it again here. Again, we're matched on our wings as a safety position. We're playing some off man on the outside, our bail technique. Good job by him playing under. I don't know what they're trying to run here. I think it's kind of like a veer type look. But if he's going to push vertical, now I'll take him after 5 yards. I'm going to go with him, and now he's going to make this tackle. That's a long way to go. Again, they're trying to think that they could beat our boundary safety to that, but you see we're taking good angles, and we're going from there. Okay, moving on. So we get to the safety insert. All right, so we talked about the arc. We talked about the motion away now. Now it's the insert, starting to get some more of those midline type concepts. All right, so number 2, inserts. U-inserts. So I told you the beauty of quarters, and you see we can't spin wrong on this because our safeties are matched on guys with quarters. So we're going to get an extra guy exactly to where they want to insert. Again, we kind of go back to that flexbone type look. We get the counter motion. He inserts. Now our safety inserts. Here it is. He's going to give us a little bit and then try to come back. I think it's like a counter type dive, counter midline. But he's going to now fit. Our linebacker does a good job coming back, recognizing the play. And now we got 2 right to the point of attacks. We get the arc right here, so they're going to try to motion everybody away, so we're going to lose that safety. He'll still fit out there. But with our insert right here by 39, he's just off of him the whole time. There we go. Okay, moving on. Again, another insert right here. Now they're going to try to insert. They try, again, if you watch the previous picture, they're going to miss our backside linebacker right here, our front side really. They're going to miss him. So now they're going to take in the next kind of progression. They're going to take him and try to lead to our linebacker right here. Well, then nobody blocks him. He inserts, you insert. There we go. We make the play. Again, not a favorable situation, but we're going to make the play at about 2 just off of our safety insert. Okay, again, you still see 39's working with our motion. Okay, so you'll see again, he's going to go away. He goes, insert right here. Boom, there we go. His tackle made.
Coach?
Yep.
How much do you see that quarterback keep that and then follow? Because that's the one play we have.
Yep, that's what, there's a few different things. When we talk about our defensive line with that follow stuff, I played our nose front side. And then it came back to bite us in the ass about, I don't know, maybe 3 series into the game. They just ran like that kind of counter dive for about 30. So we had to adjust that in the game, and for the following week to bring them backside. And I'll kind of get into that at the end with some of the things that we see because of our triggers. A lot of it is all the counter motions and kind of come back. We actually, I think Rippin also ran a play that was almost just like he just opened and then just turned and ran, just because of the way we triggered with our safeties. And then you're going to see, we'll talk about our linebackers too, and you'll see, hey, yeah, we're going to counter motion. This is why some of the things that we see. So moving into our inside linebackers, this is where it really gets fun. It's going to be a little bit different as opposed to the run fit. This is stuff we had to work on throughout the week. We took about, our head coach, we talk about our individual time. Our head coach, his individual philosophy is that our job there, an individual, is to work on being a better linebacker, defensive back, defensive lineman. So it's all technique stuff. We don't do I don't spend 20 minutes an individual getting ready for the option. So this is little stuff, little drills that we did just, whether it's in film room or about 5 minutes before practice starts, we kind of have this little, kind of walk through time, and that's the stuff we do. So our inside linebackers, their key is now the fullback. Okay? They're on him the whole time. It's just off where he inserts. Does he insert to you, or does he insert away from you? So their alignment's going to be in 20s. As the game goes, you kind of saw some clips already. As the game goes on, we'll see what they're trying to do, and we could adjust them. We can bring them a little bit wider as it goes, but really the main part is put them in 20s. Now, if the fullback inserts to you, you immediately go to pitch. You are the pitch player now. You are the primary pitch player. Okay, so you'll see, that's when we talk about angles. He's got to be flat. He's got to scrape over. He can't let that tackle from the front side climb to him. He's got to be flat over out to pitch. If he inserts away to you, you become a secondary dive to secondary quarterback type player. So really, they're just going to kind of scrape to see what they can find. All right, and what I'll clear that up when we get to some film. All right, so they are on the fullback the whole time. Fullback's going to insert to the field. I'm out to pitch. There we go. Right away. Now we're going to lose, I think we lose him right here. There's a lot of stuff coming at him. It gets pushed up to him. Again, you see, but that's a bad angle, right? Now I don't know if he's going to save because of the way that tackle climbs so fast, but he's got to scrape flat at 5 yards. And that was the hardest part for those guys, was to scrape flat. They wanted to do a lot of stuff where they kind of step up a few steps, so that was kind of like a whole drill in that pre-practice type period, was staying flat, and really it was just me and then 2 linebackers right here, and I would just step one way or the other so that we could work flat and work all of our triggers like this.
Hey coach, you got a tight end there?
Yeah, we'll get,
You're going to get there, okay?
yeah, I'll get to all the formations and how we're going to change it when we get into the formations too. So it's the same concept for our inside linebackers. The formation doesn't matter at all for that. Now for the safeties and the corners, it's kind of the same thing, but the formation will just kind of change some of their responsibilities. So for our linebacker, whatever we have called is what we play. Formation, simple, it doesn't matter. They don't even have to worry about it. It's kind of like the only week that the linebackers don't have to worry about a formation for the most part. So again, like we said, triggering off the fullback to the field insert. He's out. I can now scrape. Again, we got to get our nose to the backside A gap. Okay, we look at it again. Again, we're getting under center. We're getting that flexbone type look. We're going to get the counter motion. This is kind of a, see some different plays and not just a veer. We're going to get the motion all the way across. Now, Rippin had a chance to see our film. They watched our film, so they see all of our triggers with our safety. So this was kind of their play to that, was to just basically waste our boundary safety, get him on the other side of the field, and now we'll just run, whatever you want to call it, load or speed option with our fullback here. Well, it doesn't matter because, hey, I'm still a primary pitch guy. There's my fullback insert. There I go. There's my play. I'll scrape to the quarterback as I go. Okay, so that kind of gives you a view, and we'll go from the tight. See, he's gone now, but we're still going to gain him off out to pitch. Okay, we'll get a different formation. Again, kind of the same premises. We're going to get kind of a slot type look, but still the same premises with them. We'll get the motion over, and there we go. So that's our whole Okie system right there with our 2 linebackers. Now he triggers out to the bubble. We're going to get it to the pitch. He triggers. There we go. Again, it's hard to account for him. He's got to stay flat. The tackle can't get to him. We get enough just by 44, just enough of a shove. Not really much, but just enough to delay him. Now they're trying to take both to our trigger guy, our safety, but we're still going to make the play with our inside linebacker right there.
Coach?
Yep.
I don't want to jump ahead because maybe we'll get to this when we get to the D-line stuff, but on that end zone shot, your ends are pinching hard inside, not really worried. Are you telling them to get hands on much all of their right to dive?
Yeah, and that's, I'm going to get to the defensive line, but yeah, we were in a 4-eye reading the guards. And that's a position, I'll get to it when I talk about, but that's a position I wish I would have worked a a lot more on, because I think maybe some of you guys have had this problem before with option teams. Our defensive line, like all of a sudden, like we kind of lost our technique because it was all, hey, you have to dive. Well, there's, you know, you're not just going to be the dive key the whole time. So that's one, as we go into next year, we're going to focus a lot more on the technique with our defensive line.
Coach, could you repeat insert away what you're telling your linebacker again?
If he inserts away, he now becomes pretty much a scrape player. So he's going to become a secondary dive player to a secondary quarterback player. Really, he's going to try to see the first thing that he comes across. Again, give another look at it. Again, we're seeing a different unbalanced formation right here. You know, talking about what you just asked with the scrape technique right here. Really, it just kind of comes for him. As I'm scraping, I'm thinking dive initially, then to quarterback. And this is going to open up again. He's triggering out to pitch. We'll get our safeties with all of our triggers right here. He's out. Now our corner kind of comes involved. I'll talk about that in a second. But now you'll kind of see 56 here. I'm just going to scrape. There it is. You know, that's on a 4th and 2. Now we're off the field. Okay, moving on. Kind of the next thing, I kind of got a little bit into the defensive line about you know, some of the things. I think this is the hardest one to kind of coach up throughout the week is the outside linebackers. The guys are going to play in our Okie system. They're going to play a 5 technique. But you know, for you guys who've gone against the option, it seems like half the game they're doing nothing, but their role is so pivotal to what we do. You know, how do you treat the backside going away? You know, all these different things. And half the time, like I said, they're not going to even get blocked. So this was a little bit of a challenge as we went, but they're going to start a 5 technique. They're going to play right on the line of scrimmage. I gave some of my guys the freedom in terms of what foot they wanted up. I know that's kind of like the, you know, if you look at 3-4 defenses, it's kind of like the age-old question is what foot's up with your outside linebacker. I gave them kind of the preference. If they get a base block, they're a C-gap player, that's it. Hey guys, if you get a base block, you're not the read key anymore. But if they get a down or any type of arc block by the tackle, they become a primary quarterback player. All right, we would like them to be physical with the offensive tackle. That's another hard one to get them on. Be physical with the offensive tackle on a down block. You guys saw how we triggered with our inside linebackers. So even if you get a little bit of that tackle, just a little bit, maybe just a little push, that's going to save us. If you just let him go, he might cut off our inside linebacker. We don't have a pitch guy, and now we're relying on a safety who's triggering from the backside all the way over to get over there. So we have to be physical with that offensive tackle if we can. And then sticking with our triggers, we have to feather the pitch. String it out, I don't know, everybody kind of uses a different term, feather. Somebody told me feather, I don't know what. But feather the pitch is one I use. But you have to string that pitch out. Again, you saw our numbers right as we triggered, and our safety's coming from the backside. The longer you can trigger or feather that pitch out, the more time we get to get all of our guys over to that side of the field. All right, so again, we'll be in 5 techniques. We are on the tackles. Okay, this is a good job by 22. Talk about feather. Doesn't get much of the tackle, but he feathers it enough. But now I'm going to be flat. Again, what I like is the angle that he takes once this pitch happens. Yeah, the quarterback's going to bail out a little bit to get that pitch off. I'm not going to get my hands on, but if you watch this angle by 22 right here, feathers it. Now I can turn and run. I'm going to work myself flat down the line of scrimmage. And you see, obviously our backside safety makes a tackle, but number 22 is going to make that right at the ticks. And again, now we're going to look at a third and 7 situations we want to be in against the option. Okay, we'll see it again. Again, he misses the tackle here, but it's a good feather. Again, he's got it now. I can turn, I can run, and I can go. Okay, can I show you another one? Okay, now we get the arc. Again, we didn't treat the arc like a reach block. Okay, so we treated the arc like, hey, this was some of the different things that teams tried to do. You know, it talked about adjustments, and their adjustments was because of our trigger. Well, their plan was going to be now, as they adjusted throughout the game, was going to be to arc this tackle to try to cut off our pitch guy. So we still kept our linebackers, hey, he arcs, you're still going to be our quarterback player. You'll feel, if he's not trying to reach you, you'll play to the outside, come underneath, there we go. Got one more in here I want to show you guys. This is not the option, but, you know, kind of talk about how important the backside pursuit and the kind of the backside part of being an outside linebacker. Nobody's going to block 44. Okay, it's hard. you know, because they can't fold in. You know, we had situations where our linebacker, that play went away, they wanted to start folding all the way and they folded too far in. It's only really like one step. And again, that's for you're a reverse player, you're all that. Now they're going to run a trap here, so this isn't even option football, but you can see some option. They got a trap in. Now number 94 is going to just be better than him. But you can see he's trapped, right? He's way too far upfield. He's trapped. That should be bad. But you can see we're going to gain 44 just by that one step right there. And now I'm back into the picture. Okay. So going into our defensive line, we're going to get into a 4-eye technique. We're going to play in a 4-eye shade. I gave them, again, I kind of give our guys preferences as we go through all of our techniques. Ideally, when you're in a 4-eye shade, you want your man hand down. But because we were slanting into the guard and we were reading the guard, I allow them to put their inside hand down too, because that kind of makes sense. If I'm going to my right here, I'm going to put my right hand down, I'm working this way. All right, so we played a 4-eye to cover up those tackles, but everything we did was reading the guard. Okay, everything was that. We were into the guard, we were a primary dive player, but we can't get cut off backside now either. Think about it, we get cut off backside, if they cut us or they just seal us off, hey, we don't have a B-gap player. I'll just tell you that right now. But this was a position, as I was kind of saying earlier, wish I spent a little bit more time with them in terms of just technique. I felt like when we played the option, we kind of lost some technique, and I think a lot of that is because, hey, I'm just a dive player all week. Well, you're going to get base blocks, you're going to get, you're going to get all these different blocks, you're going to get trapped, that we could do a little bit more with our technique in the front side. And then for our defensive line, so like I said earlier, our center is going to be in a zero technique. He's going to be about half a yard off the ball. And again, that's so he gets a visual and a feel for where everything's coming. It also protects him a little bit. Right? If I'm sitting right here and he goes and cuts me right away, I'm pretty much, I got to try to defeat it. This way I get a visual of it. You're going to cut me, I have a better chance to defeat it. I would rather our guys played in 2-point stances. I would rather they sit over the center like this, but they weren't comfortable with that. So we didn't. So I said, hey, get to a 3-point stance if you want. They're a dive player. Obviously, our nose are going to see the combos. It's kind of a rough 2 weeks for our nose tackles because it's cut and combo blocks pretty much the whole game. But they are a backside A-gap player. So off of that double, let's say the double's going to come here, I have to fit to the backside of that. So that's why they're off the ball as well, so they have visual of it. Told you earlier, right? We played the front side initially, but we had to adjust about 3 series into Luther because they kind of figured that out and they ran a backside dive. We didn't have an A-gap player because you guys see how we're triggering now, right? And all of our flow is going with everything and off of their keys. So that's very important that he plays the backside in the A-gap. So you can kind of get a visual of it. Like I said, it's tough because they're going to be reading the guard and they're going to get cut down. But even in this situation, we'll go to the tight right here. You know, we start with this guy, he's reading the guard, he's going to get cut down. That's tough because your eyes, that's stuff we had to work on all week because your eyes are going interior, but he's the one cutting you. But again, they couldn't get sealed off into this B gap. See, again, our nose is doing a great job falling into the A gap. They want to take 2 guys, put them on, fine. That's great. Okay, moving on, different package here. I'll try to show you guys something different. Is our INDY package now. So we had an Okie. We kind of went through the whole Okie system. Then we get into our INDY, and really our INDY doesn't change too much. It changes for our front guys. Our secondary plays the same exact way. So you get a look at it. Our defensive line looks the same. The only difference is, hey, INDY, I don't know, some of you guys use INDY as a front probably, is now our end and tackle are going to play a 5 technique. That's it. They're going to play a 5 technique. They're going to read the offensive tackle. They are a dive player, primary dive player. If they get a base block, though, they're going to, what I call, snap into the B gap. All right, so if that tackle comes at me, I'm snapping and I'm ripping underneath into the B gap. So it's a very tight 5. We're not worried about getting reached. Now, if they get reached, that's fine. We'll be right in the B gap. So we're not worried about that. Still primary dive player. Like I said, nothing changes in the back end right here. Where it all changes is with these guys and our outside linebackers and our ends and our tackles. Okay, so. And we'll get to it again, kind of going position by position. Corners, same as Okie. Nothing changes. It's really quarters to them, it's press man to them. Safeties, same as Okie. Nothing changes. Press man, we're still doing all of our triggers with it. I got a few different pass plays in here, some play action plays so you guys can kind of see because of our triggers. You can see some of the things Rippon's doing right here. It makes sense, right? Try to beat him with speed all the way to the sideline. But we're we're triggered on them, we're locked on them, we're going, they're trying to hit this with room to run. This is how we'll look against us. We'll play press man on the outside. There you go. They keep the other wing back in, so he's just an extra player. Again, we're going to get into a 3rd and 10 situation. They're going to try to throw a fade on our best corner. We're going to play press man. We're going to knock the ball out right there. So you kind of see, again, they're trying to get the one-on-one right here by taking this wing and bringing our safety to the other side. Max protect, throw it up. If an option team wants to live on fades, that's fine with me. One more look at a path. We're going to actually put in this is a different flame cup pressure package, but the coverage is still the same. You guys can see, again, I'm trying to show you concepts because of our triggers, what they're trying to do against what we're doing. So you see, it's a good concept. They're going to motion him away, get him out of the way. Now they're going to try to run a drag route back here, kind of almost like a pick situation right there. Great job by our safety, number 42 right there, sticking with that the whole time. So you kind of see some different concepts we'll see out of this on the back end. Getting back into the Indy stuff against the option, you look at our inside linebackers right here. Their key doesn't change in Indy. They're still a fullback player. All right, so their eyes are on the fullback the whole time. We're still going to be in a 20 technique. All right, we're still going to be in a 20 technique. Now it's changing, right? If he inserts to you now, you scream right to dive. And that's it. You tackle the dive. That's my teaching point. And I had to break the, well, do I have the A gap? Do I have the, no. You tackle the dive. You run straight ahead and tackle the dive. You play right off that double, tackle the dive. If he inserts away from you, you become a secondary quarterback player. Okay, secondary quarterback player. Again, angles, 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 angles. Don't step up. You got to play it flat if you're scraping from the backside to get to the secondary quarterback. And I'll show you what I mean right here. So now we're in our Indy look. Fullback inserts to the field. There we go. Okay, so we're going to get, our eyes are on him. I'm going to screen right down, tackle the dive, right off his ass. Probably took a step too wide outside, but we get it right where we want. We talk about angles. 56 right here. Not what we want, right? You see now he's cut up. Now we lose our number, and you guys start to see the outside, right? That's not a pretty picture of the outside. He's got to scrape flat and over. You can kind of see him pause after he takes a step up and says, oh shit, Coach Janus is going to yell at me right now. So he's got to be flat and over the top. So as we go again, same call into our Indy stuff. All right, we're going to get cut off right here by this double, but now you see the scrape to the secondary quarterback play. So now it's insert, scrape, over. And he's still probably a little too deep. It's a little better there. Scrapes over. Now I'm the secondary quarterback again. I talked about numbers earlier. You see all the numbers to the field side. Let's try to hustle through this a little bit because I know I'm kind of getting short on time here. But so we get to our outside linebackers. Their key is still the offensive tackle. We threw in the wing too. They're going to line up outside of the wing, depending on where the wing aligns. But they're still going to key the offensive tackle. If they get a base block, they'll be C gap to snap player. C gap. Really, they'll fall into the C gap because their defensive end is snapping. If they get a down or arc, they become a primary quarterback player. All right. So now their duties and their responsibilities have shifted. I like Indy a lot more against the outside here, perimeter type stuff. Okay. Physical with the offensive attack, try to feather the pitch. So now we get into our Indy type stuff with our outside linebackers. Going to go to the field. We'll take to the quarterback. Now we can also play the pitch as we go. We kind of saw this clip earlier. We'll get inside veer here out of Indy. We're going to get a different alignment here. We're going to nasty split right here. All right. I'm sorry, he's a pitch player. I'm thinking defensive lineman. He is a pitch player. I'm sorry, I think I had that on the slide. He is a pitch player. Defensive line, nothing really changes. Our offensive tackle, still their read, 5 technique, snap on the base block, can't get cut off on the backside. All right. Don't want to keep you guys from lunch. Our nose is still half yard off the ball. He's a dive player. He's a backside A gap player. Okay, so you got to get a look at it like a belly type play. He's going to play backside. You see, that's exactly what we want. Gets himself in on the tackle. Now, as we move forward, this is what I want to kind of get to, is the formation variance. We talked about how teams, option teams, will now try to increase their numbers to get wherever it is. And how they increase their numbers, they just change formations on you. So they're going to adjust their formation. So we got to be, when we install stuff, we got to be able to do the same thing with different formations. So first one is getting into like a nub tight end, a closed tight end side. So they're going to take, maybe they'll go twins or something else different. But we have a nub tight end. We'll get into a switch call. So now our corners will switch with our safety. We'll actually bring our safety down to 5 yards. Our corner will line up in a safety spot. And now our corner does the same thing our safety does. All right, our safety becomes a C-gap primary quarterback player. I'll show you this on a sheet right here. So to give you a better look at it right here. So now they give us a tight. So really the switch call, hey, our corner, our safety, switch. And that really only applies to these 3 guys. So if we're in our Okie package, these guys, our Will, our Mike, our Sam, playing exactly what they do with the Okie. Our safety, nothing changes for him, our corner. So we bring our corner to the 2x8 side now. Our corner is now doing what our safety did on the wing. So he is now the wing. If he goes, our corner goes now. Our safety will stay home. He'll be man-to-man on the tight end. Okay? He is technically a C-gap player. If that thing were to just open up, but our backer now becomes a dive to snap player. So he's going to read our tight end. He'll bump his alignment out. If the tight end were to base him, he's going to snap into the C-gap. Okay, so you see our safety's really going to fit in the D-gap. All right, and he's now a quarterback player. Okay, so now all we've done is just change these 3 pieces, and there we go. And now we roll against the nub tight end side set. All right, our Mike and our Will, if our fullback insert's here, if we're in Okie, I'm out to pitch, I'm scraping. If the fullback insert's here in Indy, I fill, I'm out to the quarterback. So you see we still get all of our numbers right there. If we get double tight, again, trying to keep it simple for the back end, all it becomes is the double switch call. That's it. So now we got both of our corners back. And now both of our corners are doing exactly what our safeties just did. Okay, so you can kind of see it again. There's both of our corners. We're going to mash the tight end right here. We're all a him. All right, we're a quarterback, primary quarterback player. What's the call? Is it Okie? Is it Indy? Whatever the call is, and we go from there. We'll bump both of our backers out. We're in our 4-eye right there. So to give you kind of a look at it, here's our nub side. That's now our boundary corner. So they brought that number 1 in. We'll get our switch call going to the top side. Our boundary corner comes here. He's matched on the wing. Wing goes in motion. I'm going to trigger with that motion. Okay, we're playing our Okie set right here. You talk about angles, right? 45's a really good player. He's only a freshman for us this year. He's a heck of a player, but you just took a bad angle right here. But we're still going to gain numbers to the perimeter. So he's out to pitch. We get a good physical shot from our outside linebacker. Good job with the pursuit. We'll go to the tight. There's our safety. He's going to play the C-gap. We get that down. He'll be all of the tight end. He's probably a little too fast on this one. But again, you see our front side and our Okie side now. 22 does a great job of being physical with our tight end. Gives him a shot. Now that tackle now can't climb to the next level. There we go. We're still getting our numbers. Okay? So now we get unbalanced. All right, and I'll kind of pause this so you guys can see. So now we're getting an unbalanced look. So now the tight end is dead. All right, so now what we're going to do for this one is this is our field safety. So I didn't show you the sheet on this one. This is an unbalanced type look into the boundary. So what we did now was we brought our field safety over and down. So now we have our numbers to their strength. Our field safety, same responsibility. This is our field safety. This is our boundary safety. He's a C-gap player. He's going to fit in here. He's matched on the wing. Our field corner is just matched on the wing, and we play whatever we got called. Okie is the call. They're going to go away from the strength. He'll still trigger. Our field corners will still be working to the outside. Okay, and it's kind of what I just said right there with the unbalanced. All right, and the last one I kind of got in terms of formation was we called it nasty. So they're going to bring their number 1 receiver. It's not going to be a normal line. It's going to be nice and tight. He'll probably be 2 yards off the tackle. A lot of this time I went to the Indy look. Again, like I said, for the perimeter, we'll still get into kind of give you a look at it right here. We're now going to bring our corner into kind of an area call right here. He's going to be doing the same thing. He'll be matched on 1. But this was, again, like I said, I'll show you the tight of it. This was a set we got, so we bumped our linebacker out so that we could make this block a little bit more difficult right here. Again, this is that nasty alignment right here. he's still matched on the wing. He's playing off on number 1 right here. So you can kind of get a feel for that, and they're going to try to run. This was their home run play, this rocket toss, and now we can still get all of our numbers to the perimeter. This was a crazy play. And then this kid who's just standing around gets the ball. We didn't get it. All right, and then really adjustments and some of the things, so like as you go through my system, some of the things that I saw, or things that we saw throughout the 2 weeks playing option football, was some of our triggers. Because of all the ways they trigger, and because teams see our film, and our safeties are going, and our inside linebackers are going, was a lot of counter motions and counter dives. So you guys kind of saw a few clips of the, hey, we're going to counter motion, then we're going to come back to try to screw up our safeties on the back end. Like I said, the counter dive, I think the whole purpose was to, again, get our safeties, but the hope that our linebackers would go with that motion too. But because we kept our linebackers on the fullback, it wasn't going to affect us really at all. Load option was a big one, just loading with the fullback, so bringing that wing in motion, taking their fullback and arcing him pretty much. That was a big one we saw. And then I saw a lot of, they started to arc release on the tackles. Kind of showed you that clip earlier. The arc release was, again, trying to cut off our pitch guy with our inside linebackers, so they would arc their offensive tackle as they went. So,
Coach, anything you did different when they went to load option? Anything you guys did different? You just got to win.
No, we were still gaining numbers, because let's say we were in our Okie stuff and they want to take that fullback and try to read, we're still going to bring our linebacker with them, whether it's backside, frontside linebacker. So, but that's all I got. I'm going to stick around for a little bit during lunch. I got to work we got a big basketball game tonight. But I'll stick around for lunch. I appreciate you guys sitting through, appreciate you guys having me. It's awesome to be talking football, kind of gearing up for next season. So thank you guys.